Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm gonna show you a component with two transistors inside a very small package. The component that we are gonna look in this video is BC817DS, which is an NPN general purpose double transistor from Nexperia. This means that inside one small package we have two separate NPN bipolar junction transistors. It's important to understand that this is not a Darlington transistor. It's also not one combined transistor. Simply two independent NPN transistors placed inside one compact surface mount package. The package used here is SOT457, also known as SC74 or TSOP6. Because there are two transistors inside the one package, this IC can reduce total number of components on the PCB. It can also reduce pick-and-place cost during manufacturing. The main application is very simple: general purpose switching and amplification. So we can use it for small switching circuits, signal driving, level shifting, small amplifier stages, and similar transistor-based design. Now let's look at the quick ratings. For each transistor, the maximum collector-emitter voltage, called VCEO, is 45 volts when the base is open. The collector current is rated up to 500 milliamps. The peak collector current is 1 amp, but only for a short single pulse of up to 1 millisecond. The DC gain HFE is specified from 160 to 400 when the collector is 1 volt and collector current is 100 milliamps. This gain value is measured using a pulse test, so we shouldn't assume it applies exactly under every condition. At the bottom of the page we have pinouts. Pin 1 starts from here, emitter, and second one is base, and the sixth one is the collector of the first transistor. The third one is collector, and fourth one is emitter, and the fifth one is the base of the second transistor. So when using this part in a circuit, always we should check for pin numbering carefully, because the collectors and emitters of the two transistors are placed on opposite sides of the package. Now let's check for the limiting values. These are the absolute maximum ratings, so they are not recommended operating values. They are stress limits. If we exceed them, the transistor can be permanently damaged. For each transistor, the collector base voltage is 15 volts, maximum with the emitter open. The collector-emitter voltage is 45 volts with the base open. The emitter base voltage VEBO is 5 volts at the open collector, so we must be careful not to reverse bias the base emitter junction too much. The collector current is 500 milliamps maximum, and the peak collector current is 1 amp. The peak base current is 200 milliamps for a short pulse up to 1 millisecond. Power dissipation is also important. Per transistor, the maximum total power dissipation is 370 milliwatts at the ambient temperature of 25 degrees. For the whole device, the maximum power dissipation is 600 milliwatts. The maximum junction temperature is 150 degrees, and the ambient and storage temperature is ranging from minus 65 degrees up to plus 150. At the bottom we have thermal characteristics, and the thermal resistance from junction to ambient RTH is 208 Kelvin per watt for the specified PCB mounting condition. This means thermal design depends heavily on the PCB copper area and layout, so even if the current rating looks high, we must always calculate heat dissipation. Now in this page we are gonna look for the main electrical characteristics at an ambient temperature of 25 degrees. First we have leakage current, which is 100 nanoamps at VCB equals to 20 volts, and emitter current equals to 0. At high junction temperature, the leakage can go up to 5 microamp. This is normal behavior of bipolar transistors because leakage increases with temperature. The emitter base cutoff current is maximum 100 nanoamps when the VEB equals to 5 volts and collector current is 0. Now for DC current gain, HFE is gonna be different from 160 up to 400 at IC equals to 100 milliamps and VCE equals to 1 volt. But at IC equals to 500 milliamps and when the VCE equals to 1 volt, the HFE is only 40. This is very important because it means that at high current we need more bias drive. For switching operation, the collector-emitter saturation voltage VCE is maximum 700 millivolts at IC equals to 500 milliamps and IB equals 5 and the base current equals to 15 milliamps. This tells us that to switch 500 milliamps properly, the base current used in the test is quite large, which is 50 milliamps. The base emitter voltage VBE is maximum 1.2 volts at 500 milliamps. The collector capacitance is typically 5 picofarads and the transition frequency is 100 MHz minimum. Now let's look at the first graph, which is DC current gain versus collector current. The graph shows that gain changes with current and temperature. At moderate current, gain is higher, but at higher collector current, gain drops. The second figure shows collector current versus collector-emitter voltage for different base current. This graph helps us understand the transistor output curves. At low collector-emitter voltage, the transistor is close to saturation. At higher voltage, the collector current is mostly controlled by base current and transistor gains. The third graph shows collector-emitter saturation voltage versus collector current. This condition here is IC divided by IB equals to 10. This is a common forced beta condition used for switching design. The main point is that VCE saturation increases as collector current increases. At low current, the saturation voltage is small, but as the current reaches hundreds of milliamps, the saturation voltage becomes much higher. This matters because power loss in switching is approximately power equals VCE saturation times collector current. So if the transistor is switching at high current, even a few hundred millivolts of saturation voltage can create noticeable heat. Figure 4 shows base emitter voltage versus collector current. The graph shown for different temperatures. At colder temperatures, the required base emitter voltage is higher. At hotter temperature, the base emitter voltage is lower. This is very important in analog circuits, bias networks, and current control circuits. The datasheet also notes that VBE decreases by about 2 millivolts per Kelvin as temperature increases. At the bottom of the page, we have the package outline for TSOP6, also known as SOT457 package. The drawing shows the physical dimensions in millimeters. The package body is around 3 millimeters long and the lead package is 0.95 millimeters. Now let's check for the soldering footprints. The first drawing is the reflow soldering footprints for TSOP6 package. It shows the soldering lengths, solder resist, solder paste, and occupied area. The dimensions are given in millimeters. This footprint is intended for standard surface mount reflow assembly. The second drawing is wave soldering footprint. This footprint is different from the reflow footprint. It has different lens shape and also shows the preferred transport direction during during soldering. The important message here is that don't assume that one footprint is correct for every soldering process. Reflow and wave soldering can require different land patterns. So if you are designing a PCB, you should choose the footprint based on your actual manufacturing process. For most modern surface mount PCB assembly, reflow soldering is the common choice. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Please don't forget to like, share and comment below. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos.